Finally, the long-awaited upgrade package for the W14 did make its debut at Monaco. While we are yet to see the gains of that upgrade package, Mercedes just reassured the Formula One world why they cannot be written off from the championship battle anytime soon. Toto Wolff, along with Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, have shared their thoughts on what they have learned from the new direction they are taking. Allison shared news about Spanish Grand Prix upgrades for the W14, and they did talk about when we can expect Mercedes to be fighting for race wins this season. Could Barcelona be the turning point for the Silver Arrows, where they will start to clear the rest of the field and take the challenge to Red Bull? Well, stick around to find out. The Monaco Grand Prix is one of those races that raises eyebrows, particularly when teams say that they are bringing upgrades. The race at Monaco is labeled as the survival of the fittest, but Mercedes had no time to waste, and they fully committed into its long-hyped concept revamp at the tight streets of Monte Carlo. The Silver Arrows went to do what they do best. That is improving the W14's performance after admitting they have been traveling in the wrong direction for the past 18 months or so. This is the sort of backing up both Russell and Hamilton needed in these sort of tough times. The next huge challenge for the Brackley-based squad is Barcelona, and this is a race that Mercedes labeled as one we need to pay the most attention to. That is because the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya is a more traditional racing circuit, which offers better understanding regarding both aerodynamic and mechanical performance. The number one issue Mercedes will have to tackle at Barcelona is finding the right balance with the massive shift of concept. The team has to do this alongside chasing rear downforce, which are complementary normally and usually go together in a performance perspective. Mercedes is desperate to first understand how their car works as an entire package. We have been hearing statements from both George Russell and Lewis Hamilton regarding the car delivering good performance at one section of the track and not being optimum for the rest of the racing layout. That is not good enough if the team hopes to fight Red Bull for race wins. But what's important here is the first impression from both drivers, as they did speak about this, saying that the car is now at the right place, and both Brits also mentioned that the team has found a good baseline to work forwards, expecting lots of improvements over the coming races. However, considering the gap that the Red Bull has over the rest of the field, closing that gap would be a tough task, but not all the way impossible within this season. Toto Wolff was the first one to talk about the upgrades brought to the W14, as his verdict added, "The car felt together, which is important, but it's still a bit nasty on the rear. So that's something which we need to dial out of the car for the next few races," Wolff admitted to the press at Monaco. "But we have a new baseline, and that's important to say, okay, this is what we have now. We've taken questions off the table where we weren't sure of, be it the front suspension or the extravaganza of our bodywork. So, let's work from here. We're good at grinding away, and the work that was done in the factories to bring that update here to Monaco from our team, it was really a big effort." However, the performance gained by these new upgrades is still a mystery, as the Monaco Grand Prix is not a circuit where the drivers tend to push their cars to its maximum. Monaco is a high downforce circuit, which means that the slow corner performance at Monaco will be something useful for Mercedes. The Barcelona circuit has a requirement of medium to high downforce. Therefore, the team would be able to see massive improvement at Barcelona than what they were able to see at Monaco. Everyone at Mercedes will be hopeful about the upcoming Spanish Grand Prix, and they will be aiming to take a clear picture of where the car is in terms of the pecking order. Who knows, they might even be able to deliver that odd race win there. But Toto Wolff again stressed the importance of not expecting any miracles out of the Spanish Grand Prix, as he mentioned that it takes time to sculpt such a massive surgery into a race-winning machine. "I think Barcelona is not enough," Wolff continued. "I think we need to collect data. That's why we put it also here in Monaco, and to collect further analysis, which we will do in Barcelona. The next one, Montreal, is a little bit of an outlier again. But over the next races, hopefully we can really increase the performance of the car. But it's not going to suddenly be right there. That's why I'm actually pleased with the time gap that we had in Monaco. It was always a mediocre track for us, so that's okay. Mercedes needs to examine their new parts performance against factory simulations. But they are more than aware that understanding the new performance level will take more than just one race. But looking at the good side, Lewis Hamilton himself admitted that the car is moving in the right direction. After the criticism he has made about the W14 from the season's start, this is indeed very good news for the Silver Arrows. The upcoming race at Barcelona therefore will be huge for Mercedes. But putting the W14 against the RB19, which has that absolutely amazing straight line speed with its DRS open, those are problems that the Silver Arrows won't be able to tackle within 1 or 2 races. That is why, now is where Mercedes has a lot of work in front of them, to play the game of catch-up as quick as possible, specifically on the car's floor. We have taken a close look at the Red Bull and Mercedes floors at Monaco. If you have not watched our floor analysis video, I'll drop the video link down in the description. We all know how much complex the Red Bull floor is, with the most intricate design details. While now many would think copying the Red Bull floor design would be easy, with the pictures of their underfloor, it's much easier said than done. All teams will have better high-resolution pictures than what we have at our disposal, something that James Allison mentioned in the Mercedes Monaco race debrief video. The complexity of the floor could not be analyzed on 2D pictures, as opposed to the use of 3D photography, and copy-pasting the Red Bull floor design won't make the car go fast, as the entire aero concept must work in unison. That complexity of the floor design showed where Red Bull is getting most of its performance from. However complex it is, one thing we know that nothing is impossible, and if there is a team which can close the gap to Red Bull, that is Mercedes for sure. Many watching this video would agree with me, because Mercedes were brave enough to admit its mistakes of pursuing a low-ceiling concept, whereas the likes of Ferrari are not yet ready to give up their concept for something better. Ferrari are rumored to be bringing a new sidepods concept to Barcelona, which would resemble more of the Red Bull style. But the tactics and the driver's ability to get the maximum out of their cars is still a hanging question mark around Ferrari, which Mercedes have and will use in their favor. Toto Wolff talked about the improvement of the W14, labeling it as a not good car. It's so difficult, because we were in the mix with Aston Martin and with Ferrari, I would say, Wolff told media. On a positive note, maybe encouraging because we have never been really good here. We have been 3/10 behind pole this year, last year it was 6/10. The car was awful last year and this time around the drivers said it's not good. So, there's a step up in description. But we really need to be careful. We've got to go to Barcelona and collect more data. It's a new baseline. I don't expect us clearing Aston Martin and Ferrari there either. At this point of the season, there is one thing that is most beneficial to Mercedes. That is the 17% additional wind tunnel time they have compared to Red Bull. If the Silver Arrows manage to find the perfect aero philosophy for the car's floor, then rest assured that the remainder of the season won't be Red Bull dominated, cause Mercedes will be hunters for races wins. At Monaco, everyone's eyes were on the new sidepods design, and many felt that the sidepods are the reason for Mercedes being uncompetitive. Hamilton himself has talked about this, mentioning that changing the sidepods itself won't be enough to propel the team to a championship winning position. It is very difficult for us to understand how an entire car concept works. But take Aston Martin for example. Last year at Barcelona, the team introduced a Red Bull-like aero concept, and the Spanish Grand Prix was one of their worst performances of the season. That is why Mercedes has to take a cautious approach in this matter. The returning technical director of Mercedes, James Allison, talked about how the team will approach the new W14 at Barcelona, but also talked about bringing upgrades to the car as well. We certainly will settle back in and look at what the Monaco upgrade package has brought us at a more normal track, Allison said in Mercedes' post-race debrief video. But we will also push on in parallel with a whole bunch more things. So there will be a little bit we're bringing to Barcelona and many more things in the races that follow. We can't afford to just do everything sequentially. Although there's a sort of academic purity to that, it's just too slow way ahead. So the upgrades will keep coming. Hopefully a decent package to build upon what we put on the track in Monaco, and we just step forward from here up to the summer break and beyond. The magic I believe could potentially make Mercedes the best team in 2023 lies around the floor. Again, copying the Red Bull design will not work, but the team can sure take inspiration from the Austrian design, such as how to make vertical kicks work at the floor's rear. The entire Formula 1 world is hoping that Mercedes, or any other team, would introduce upgrades to improve the performance of their cars as quickly as possible. The last thing the sport needs right now is another era dominated by one team and one driver after the Mercedes-dominated turbo hybrid era. Mercedes is might have the upper hand in preserving the sport's appeal and competitiveness because they have long held the top spot in the industry, and the Silver Arrows are without a doubt the team that knows what needs to be done in circumstances like this. Whether or not Mercedes has what it takes to actually push Red Bull to their limits in the remainder of the 2023 season, time will tell. But first, the Brackley-based squad must pass their first and most important test, which is Barcelona. Considering the fact that Mercedes were able to solve the porpoising problem of the W13 at Barcelona, and showcasing amazing pace during the Grand Prix speaks volumes about the team. And if they are able to work that same magic in finding that needed rear downforce on the W14, I don't see why Mercedes cannot be at the front of the pack, leading the Red Bulls. But what do you guys think? What sort of a performance are you expecting from Mercedes at Barcelona? Do you think Mercedes can close the gap towards the Red Bull, starting from the Spanish Grand Prix? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section down below. We'd love to discuss it with you. And on your way down, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of our future uploads to keep yourselves up to date about the 2023 Formula 1 season.